Hello, welcome back to Supposedly Fun. My name is Greg, here today to do another unboxing. I'm delaying my books that I'm excited for in 2020 post again because I just felt like doing something that it didn't need a whole lot of preparation. So if you don't remember, my father moved. He had been storing a bunch of books for me in his house. He shipped them to me. There were 3 large boxes and 1 small box. I rolled the small box into my December book haul. I opened the first box last week. I will link that video down below. And I'm here again to do the second box. So I have cut this open and I have not peeked. So I'm going to be reacting to them as I pull them out. One quick note, in the last box I found my yearbook from when I was a sophomore in high school. Only one person requested to see the photo. Part of why I didn't, and as I think about this, I feel more like I don't want to show the names of the people around me, so I'm going to try to get a picture of just me, and if I can, I'll put it right here. Because it doesn't matter that much if you see it. I just don't want to assume that people I went to high school with would be cool appearing on my YouTube channel. Anyway, let's get into the box from today and see what we have in here. I'm gonna try to grab something and see. Oh, it's a big book on top. It is At Swim 2 Boys by Jamie O'Neill. This is actually something that I purchased because I was still in the closet at the time that this came out, I believe, if I remember correctly. Let's see what the copyright date is. 2001, yeah, I was definitely still in the closet at the time. So I was intrigued in the subject matter. So if I remember right, it's 2 boys in Ireland. They are gay. They have a kind of affair, but one of them gets involved in, I don't know, I don't think it's the IRA. Yeah, it's 1916, so it wouldn't be the IRA. But their paths take them in very different directions. And I was fascinated because of the gay angle, but then because I was worried people would associate that with me, I didn't finish it. Oh, and it actually has my bookmark in it. So I only made it about 250 pages in. I would actually be interested in finishing this because the parts that I remember are good. So this is good. I can revisit this. What else do we have? Oh, this says there's some large books in here. So I've mentioned a couple of times on my channel that I am an Academy Awards fanatic. So there you go. And the Oscar goes to the Academy Awards, the complete history of Oscar. Well, of course, it's not really the complete history of Oscar. It only goes through, let's see what year. It only goes through the year 2001. So there you go. Oh, interesting. So I worked at Borders. I've mentioned that a couple of times. You don't see too many of these anymore. This is a sticker from Borders, and I know from the sticker that came from store 127, which was the store I worked at in the Short Hills Mall, which closed in 2005, long before the entirety of Borders went under. But yeah, just that's a fun book for me to have again. And the Oscars are coming, so very well timed. I wonder if this has all of my movie books. It does. A Variety Book Movie Awards, the ultimate unofficial guide to the Oscars, Golden Globes, Critics Guild, and Indie Honors. So this goes year by year until probably around the same point as that one. 1999 is when this ends. But it just lists all the winners. And I think that stuff is fascinating. So let's see. Oh, got another big one. And the winner is the Academy Awards. So this is the revised and updated version of that other one. I wonder how many years it adds at the end. Let's see. 2004, so it only adds 3 years. But still kind of fun to have. Next we have, oh, Carol Shields, Unless. I read this when it was first published. And I don't remember what year that was. I think I was probably still working at the Short Hills Borders. Copyright 2002, so yes, that would have been then. I remember thinking the book was just okay, but I loved the ending. And I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read it, but there's a part at the ending where Carol Shields kind of explains the title, Unless. And I think it's a beautiful passage. So, good to have that in. And I really want to reread The Stone Diaries by Carol Shields as part of my Pulitzer Prize project, so I'm glad to have, oh my goodness, sketchbooks. We're not going to go into those right now, maybe never. The Little Prince. That's cute. I've been wanting to reread this for a while, so now I can. Oh, gosh. I did not read this as a child. I read this in my 20s, and I remember really liking it. So that's fun. Next is, oh, 2 books. Let's go one by one. Tom Robbins' Still Life with Woodpecker. Did I read this? I don't even know. I think I did. It also deals with the problems of redheads. I married a redhead, so I guess whatever lessons this book taught me I didn't take. I know I've read a Tom Robbins. I don't know if it's this Tom Robbins. He was repeatedly recommended to me because I love Kurt Vonnegut. And I remember kind of liking it, but I had never read any further. Maybe it was this one. I honestly don't remember. So that'll be interesting to go back. What do we have here? Housekeeping by Marilyn Robinson, another book I'm glad to have. Now, I read Gilead when it won the Pulitzer, and I thought it was just okay. And then I read Housekeeping about a year later and really liked it. And I think it's going to be fascinating now that I'm 37, as part of my Pulitzer Prize project, to go back and reread Gilead. I think I was too young at the time to really appreciate what was going on in that book, or to relate to the character and what was going on in his life. And it would be really interesting to reread Housekeeping and see if it still holds my attention as it did way, way, way back when I first read it, and just kind of see. So yeah, I'm glad I have this now. Okay, next. Old School by Tobias Wolff. I remember really enjoying this book. I recommended it a lot when I was working at Borders. So if I remember right, it's a boy at a boarding school, and there are 3 sections of the book that correspond to 3 author visits, if I remember right. Okay, so Robert Frost, Ayn Rand, maybe it's only 2. But it's basically in this highly competitive academic world, our main character feels pressure to compete with all of the other boys. And I won't say anything else. That would be a fun book to reread, but there's so many things to read and reread that who knows. Okay. A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. I read this for the first time in 5th grade. This is obviously not that copy. And then when I was working at Borders, I think I mentioned a lot in my last video that when I was about 21, I didn't really have a whole lot to spend my own money on. So I just spent a lot of it on books, and I wanted to have a hardcover copy of A Wrinkle in Time because I had loved it very much. And now here it is. I have never read any of the other books in the series. So A Wind in the Door, A Swiftly Tilting Planet, or Many Waters. I've never read them. Are they worth exploring? Let me know. I would like to reread that at some point. I have not reread it since I was a child. So, let's see. Kurt Vonnegut, Armageddon in Retrospect. So this is, I think, a collection. Oh, I have notes. Yeah. So I think this is a collection of essays, maybe short stories, 12 writings by Kurt Vonnegut on 2 of his most important subjects, war and peace, written over the course of a lifetime, yet never before published. There you go. This definitely came out at the time when Kurt Vonnegut was still my favorite writer. I still really like Kurt Vonnegut, but I have generally now acknowledged that E.M. Forster is probably the replacement. I wonder, though, because I'm reading a Toni Morrison book right now, and she's got the stuff. She could potentially, she's definitely going to be up there. Will she supplant E.M. Forster as my favorite, who supplanted Kurt Vonnegut? I don't know. We're going to have to find out. All right, what else do we have? So I have The Fellowship of the Ring now, J.R.R. Tolkien. I talked in, I think it was The Hobbit that I found in the December book haul. I will link that video down below. And I mentioned I really, really liked The Hobbit, and I couldn't place it at the time, so I figured it out afterward. I finished The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers, and I think I got 100 pages into The Return of the King and stopped and never picked it up again. And I really flabbergasted Doris at Aldi Books with that one. But it'll be interesting. Maybe I should go back and try them again. I have talked about how my reading goals for this year are to read outside my comfort zone, and I don't read a lot of sci-fi fantasy, so this would certainly fit the fantasy element. And I also had talked about re-engaging with books that I previously didn't like, or books that I liked, and reevaluate or see if my opinion has changed at all. This would certainly be a good project for that. But it's 3 or 4 books. 4 if I include The Hobbit. So that would be a big commitment. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it because now people are going to ask me about it down the road. And here we go, The Two Towers. So I made it all the way through these two. It was in Return of the King that I stalled out. And let's see, do I have Return of the King here? I do, sure enough. There it is. So I had started reading them in the year 2000, I believe, because I wanted to read The Hobbit and then all 3 before the movies came out. And I read The Hobbit and The Fellowship of the Ring before the movie of The Fellowship of the Ring came out. And I think I got Two Towers in before the movie The Two Towers came out, and then I really petered out on this. Oh, I have my bookmark in it. So let's find out exactly where I stopped. Well, okay, this is difficult because I stopped on page 806. But I'm guessing, okay, yeah, so that the pages are continuous throughout the 3 books, so I don't know what page that corresponds to. Way to make it difficult, Lord of the Rings. Let's see. It starts on page 733, so yeah, roughly 100 pages is as far as I got into that book. Let's see what else we have. Special Topics in Calamity Physics by Marisha Pessel. I have never read this, but I've heard kind of mixed things. I bought this book when it was in the bargain section of a bookstore and just never got around to reading it. And then I managed to get an advanced copy of her follow-up book, which was Night Film, and I hated it. I hated Night Film. So I just never got around to reading this one. If you think it's worth revisiting, even if I didn't like Night Film, I would love to hear. Drop me a comment down below and let me know. Because, real quick sidebar, these are a lot of books, and I don't have a lot of space for books. So when all of this is done, I'm going to have to do an unhaul with you guys. So I need to know if this one is worth keeping, basically, just to let you in. So at the same time I was buying hardcover copies of books that I loved, I wanted to make sure I had copies of books that I had loved as a child while they were still in print. So here we have Jan Pinkowski's Haunted House, a pop-up book that was very much beloved by me as a child. I did not just read it at Halloween time. I adored this book. It has flaps and it goes the whole 9 yards. It was so good. So glad to have that back. And let's see. Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I believe I've mentioned both of my parents read to me a lot when I was a little kid, but as we got older, my father started reading all of the Little House books to us. He read the entire series to us, and then we branched out into some other things. And those are some of my fondest childhood memories. Because we did them when I was we started them when I was about 4 or 5 years old, so I don't remember a whole lot of details. I've always kind of meant to go back and reread the Little House books, and I never have. So I don't think I have the whole series. I think I only have that one. Let's see, what's this? It's a photograph from 2005, November 20th, 2005. So there's me, let's see, 2005, I would have been 23, my father, and my father's husband, Ned. So there you go. I'll have to put this with the photos I got from the other box. Keep them all together. All right, what's this? Oh my God, I'm gonna have the whole set. It's a high school yearbook from 1998 to 99, so this would have been when I was a junior. Let me see if there's an addendum for some reason. Oh, they gave us like a sticker for pages that we could stick in for things that happened later in the year. I don't remember why they did that, but let's see. I'm guessing this is going to be the same deal. Can't show you my photo without, yeah. So, oh, this one is worse than the other one. If I can get a photo of this, I'll put it here. Why not? You guys follow along with me, so sure. Phantom Toll Booth, same thing as the Madeleine L'Engle book, A Wrinkle in Time. I just really loved this book as a child, so I wanted to make sure I had a hardcover copy of it with me. This would be a fun one to reread at some point. This was the special 35th anniversary edition. I remember really liking this. I was kind of a weird kid, and this was like right in my zone. So yeah, it's perfect. Okay, next is Where the Red Fern Grows. Oh boy, I really liked to torture myself. So it ties in with the same reason I have a copy of The Wrinkle in Time and The Phantom Tollbooth in hardcover. It was a book that was kind of beloved by me. I remember really liking it, but this book also emotionally destroyed me. I know I told the story, I think, in the video about books that have made me cry. We were assigned to read this in 5th grade, the same year I read A Wrinkle in Time. And I took the book home and I read ahead. We were supposed to read in class, and I took the book home and read ahead. And thank goodness I did, because my mother took us to some almost like a DSW. It was like a discount shoe store, and I got to the ending and just started to cry. And I was crying so badly that we had to leave the shoe store and go home, because it was like that emotional thing where you start hyperventilating and snot's running down your face. I was just emotionally wrecked. And when we got to the ending of the book in class, I was emotionally prepared and didn't cry, but I think one other kid did. So there you go. And I decided that was worth having. Oh, we have something fuzzy. The complete book of Oscar fashion from Variety, 75 Years of Glamour on the Red Carpet. So 75 years, obviously that is not. So we would go through, we have 2003, and that is the last. Yeah. I mentioned I was obsessed with the Oscars, and I really mean it. I don't know why. I've just been fascinated with them ever since, so 1993, which was the awards for 1992, my parents were getting a divorce, and I was still living with we were living in California. My mother was taking my sisters and I back to Long Island to live with family, and I stayed with my father a little longer because I had friends, and that was rare for me as a kid. So I didn't want to change schools until the summer. So my father got invited to an Oscar party, and I went with him, and I remember Marissa Tomei winning Best Supporting Actress and Unforgiven winning Best Picture, and for some reason, I just got completely caught up in the whole thing, and I've been a fan ever since. So, and I don't really talk about movies too much on the channel, because I feel like I should keep it with books, but I do occasionally reference some of these things. If you follow me on Twitter, I talk about it a lot more over there. All right, I don't know, something feels almost like a newspaper. It's gonna be interesting. It is an idea for a novel I had when I was a kid. Oh my god, my weekly schedule from work at Borders in 2007. I don't know why I held on to that, but here it is. I have a recommendation letter from a teacher at my high school. That's really interesting, and another novel idea. Oh, I was really into that when I was in high school, and somehow never really followed up. Oh my god, I think there are more papers. I'm gonna figure out how to get this out. I don't want to peek in case I ruin some surprises. All right, what is this? Oh, it's a whole lot of, oh my god. What is this? My receipt from registration at a community college. God. I've mentioned a couple of times that I took a science fiction class, and one of the assignments was that we were supposed to create our own story about an uprising, and we could do it in any format we wanted, as long as it was a fictional story. And I chose to do it as a comic book. So now I have my old copy of Earth versus the Moon Man, or is it the Moon Man versus Earth? I thought it was really funny. So there you go. That'll be fun to read later. Oh my god, my portfolio from my art classes. There's one. Yeah, I took 2 art classes in my senior year because I was a slacker. But also I just really enjoyed it. I had a teacher who really wanted me to go to art school, and I did not do it. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. And I think we're coming to the end here. Back to Oscar. This 75 years of Oscar style this one's by People Magazine. So if it's 75 years, I'm guessing it's the same time span as the other, and it will go through roughly 2003. Oh, it is not chronological, so it is all over the place. But yeah, that's fun. Love them Oscars. Okay, I think here's another big book. Oh, Broadway, another fun thing. So Broadway, the American Musical, I got this as bargain from Borders for $6. Can't really beat that. It was a companion to the PBS miniseries. This is fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun looking through this later. See how many of these I've actually seen. It's mostly, flipping through, it's mostly older production, so I have not seen any of them. But, oh well. Let's see, I think... Oh my god. My senior yearbook. Little illustration from my science fiction teacher. She taught the science fiction class. As seniors, we were given a half page, so let me see if I can... Oh god. Senior picture. My senior picture is better than my junior picture. I will try to get a picture and put it up there, because I do have a half page, but I can't do it without showing the person who was paired with me. I will tell you my senior quote. It was, "I am old enough to see how little I have done in so much time and how much I have to do in so little. Sheila K. Smith." There you go. I was kind of depressing. What's this? Oh! I mentioned The Sweet Smell of Christmas closer to the holidays. It was something that I loved, so I had bought a bunch of copies, and here are some. Apparently, it also ended up in the bargain bin at Borders, because there you go. So, nice to have that. I think I have 3 or 4 copies just here now. I think that is everything. There's a receipt at the bottom of the box. A receipt from Barnes & Noble in Tarrytown for 4 plays by Eugene O'Neill, The Bridge of San Luis Rey, and The Kite Runner, dated April 6th, 2007. So I can tell you absolutely that Eugene O'Neill was for, I don't know what I was doing in Tarrytown, but I wrote a paper about Eugene O'Neill I would have been in community college at that point. So yeah, there you go. That's random. But there you go. And that is everything that is in box number 2. Again, I will link the video of box number 1 down below. I'll link the December book haul as well. And yeah, so my plan is I'm going to do the one more unboxing that I have, and then I might incorporate the unhaul into something like a bookshelf tour-ish, because I'm really going to have to go through my shelves and be brutal. So I could kind of combine a bookshelf tour with an unhaul. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. I don't know if it's going to pan out, how it'll work out, if at all. So we shall see. I had a lot of books and a lot to figure out, and I definitely don't have a lot of space for all of those oversized Oscar books. But I love them, so we'll see what I can do and how many I can keep. But that's a story for another day. Thank you for your time. As always, it is very much appreciated. I am overwhelmed by the books and lost my train of thought, but I will be back again. And until next time, happy reading.